so much. So listen, you guys have a lot of electronic devices. Have you ever been in a situation where you did not have any battery left and it was kind of a battery emergency? I am in that situation, so very quickly I need you to say good morning to my brother Hank. What you're going to say, no screaming, we have to say it right now. What you're going to say is good morning Hank, it's Tuesday on 3. 1, 2, 3. Wow. We made it. Yes, we did it. So weird. This is just what I imagined when I was sitting in that cafe writing The Fault in Our Stars. Thank y'all so much for being here tonight. We are so excited to be in the great state of Texas. I see that there's a Liverpool supporter here. I just want to say the Premier League season ends on Sunday. If you don't have a rooting interest, if you could just do me a small favor and turn your attention to the things in life that really matter. Football. Not like Dallas Cowboys football, real football. And think if you could spare a thought for my beloved Liverpool on Sunday morning, I would appreciate it. All right. So I am so excited to be here. This is really amazing. I'm so grateful to everyone who's here tonight and to everyone we're going to meet later who made this movie that really honors the book that I wrote and a story that I know many of you care about, and I'm so grateful to you for your care and passion about the story. And I want you to know that if it weren't for that, there would be no movie. And even if there were a movie, it wouldn't be good, because while we were making it, we were all very and healthily, I think, afraid of you. We were afraid of disappointing you. We were afraid of making something that didn't honor the thing that you care about. So thank you so much for caring about this story. I hope that the clip that you're about to see, it's 10 minutes of unreleased footage from the movie. I hope you enjoy it, and then after that, we're going to say hi to some of my good friends. Thank you guys. I love you. I'll see you in a minute. Let's watch the movie together. Y'all introduced them. I don't know who's coming out. How about Ansel Elgort. Hey Ansel, let me meet your face. Let me tell you, if we could just be quiet for a moment, this is important. Before we bring anybody else out. I have licked Ansel's face. It's just okay. It's okay, I think. Yeah.
I've licked John's face and it was more than okay. So.
Alright, how about we bring out our friend Nat Wolff? Woo!
Thank you, guys.
Is that a coffee maker? Yeah.
Ansel, take your shirt off. You gotta wait for the movie for that.
Oh yeah. June 6th, theater near you.
How are you guys?
Lastly, we want to bring to the stage our good friend and our lovely and brilliant Hazel Grace, Shailene Woodley.
Shailene, 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 Shailene.
for indulging us. I like that. Nat Wolff went back there. That was nice.
Question mark.
Yeah, well, and then the exclamation point. It's fine. Let's do the one that says, Tobias is watching.
Oh my gosh, Tobias, where are you?
Thank you guys so much for being here. So we're gonna take some of your questions. Oh, hello, people over here. Hi. Hello, people in this corner.
Don't you guys feel like it's a little bit, we were just backstage and there's all these posters of all these really epic musicians who performed here. And I was walking around with my mouth sort of like hung open. It's kind of crazy to be on the stage.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for coming out for us in this movie.
Pretty crazy.
It's so nuts. I
It
mean,
makes me think that somebody should do like a quick musical number.
Somebody should do that.
I don't know who it could be.
Okay, all three of us are gonna dance to a country song. Yes, these boots are made for rocking, and that's just what they'll do. One of these days, these boots are gonna.
We rehearsed this for hours. I had no idea. Hours.
Everyone was great, except for the people who aren't Shailene. But how about Shailene Woodley? Triple threat. The vintage triple threat. Alright, we're gonna take somebody else's questions.
We're going to do some questions. We got some questions from Twitter and our Pop Sugar fans, and also from you guys. Daniel's going to be doing some questions.
Okay, so we're gonna ask some questions real quick. Come on. All right, what's your name?
My name's Summer.
Summer, where are you from?
I'm from Mansfield, Texas.
Okay. Oh, there you go. You got some friends out there. All right, now what was your question?
Okay, this one's for Ansel. So, your character, guys, he's kind of enamored with this idea of wanting to be remembered for something. So, in your real life, if there was one thing you could be remembered for, what would it be?
That's a great question.
Good question.
I mean, I think that first I want to say the lesson that Gus learns in the movie, which is that you don't have to be remembered, because at one point in time, as Hazel Gray so perfectly put, oblivion is inevitable. So I mean, I think I just want to be remembered by my friends and my family and by the people who care about me as being someone who's creative and excited about learning new things and trying new things and just loving life.
And I have a question from our Pop Sugar fans. What scene are you most excited for the fans to see?
I'm really so excited about the car scene.
Wait, which car scene? The gas station car scene or the driving car scene?
So you guys are not gonna enjoy the gas station scene.
Okay, you're alive, you're fine. It was just a little spider friend, but he's fine.
Dallas, I really liked you. Until I found out about your bugs. Now we aren't friends anymore. Thank you, Shailene, for saving my life just now.
I got your back, buddy. I got you.
Hey, wait, let's go back to the question. What scene are we most excited for in the movie, just for everyone to see? Well, you guys just saw the egg throwing scene. That was pretty cool, right?
I'm excited for everyone to see the Van Houten scene because it's a pretty epic moment in the book, and Willem Dafoe killed it. So.
Willem Dafoe is amazing. Also, I'm excited for people finally to hear the Swedish hip hop that America deserves
Oh,
to
it's
know.
so good.
All right, we got another question. Oh, wow. All right. What's your name?
Promise.
And where are you from?
Garland.
Garland, G-Town. What up, what up? All right, so here's your question.
In TFiOS, you described that an imperial inflection doesn't have a proper ending. You explained that it ends mid-sentence. Have you ever considered ending The Fault in Our Stars in that manner? Like have everyone guess like what happens afterwards?
That's a great question, and yes, I did think about it. I thought it would be very clever. And I like to be very clever.
I think Nat waved so that.
What did I tell you about waving at people? Don't wave at people.
I'm just standing here. Okay, now I'm waving. Okay. Now I'm waving.
So I thought about it, but in the end, like, I think I agree with Augustus that violates the contract between reader and writer. Now, a lot of people will say to that, like, well, then why didn't we find out, like, what happens to Hazel or what happens to Hazel's mom? Well, because you have to end a book somewhere, or else every book would end with, like, the extinction of the human species. So I chose to end it where I could, but I tried to give enough of an ending that I wouldn't violate that contract between us, you know? Thank you.
I've got another Twitter question. What did making the movie teach each and every one of you?
What did the movie teach us?
Yeah, making the movie, what did it teach you?
Oh man.
I mean, like, making the movie kind of taught me how to be an adult, because, like, I was 19 when I was making it. It was, like, one of my first times out of my house, living without my mom and dad. So I was sort of like, wait, how do I do, like, laundry and stuff? It's first time outside.
Ansel learned how to shave. He literally learned how to drive.
Literally.
Yeah, that was a little scary.
It was really scary at first.
But don't get in a car with Ansel. It's supposed to be scary. That was a natural hit.
Fortunately, yeah, Gus is such a bad driver, and that's why we picked Ansel for the part, you know? And he just had it. He had that bad driver magic. You know what I learned? I kind of went into this process pretty nervous that they were going to make a movie that didn't honor the book, that it was going to be exploitative, that it was going to be sentimentalized, all the things that I did not want the movie to be. And what I learned is that when a group of really passionate people come together, they can do things that one person alone can't do. And so I'd always seen the process of making a movie as the process of, like, watering down the story as more and more collaborators enter into it. But for The Fault in Our Stars, it was a process of more and more collaborators entering into it, and the movie becoming better and better and better. And I'm just so grateful to them for their talents and for sharing their talents with this little story.
Nice. Okay. Another question, and your name is?
Sarah.
Sarah. All right. What part of town are you from?
What?
Part of town are you from?
Shreveport, Louisiana.
Oh, Shreveport. Anybody else? Shreveport. Yeah, we had a lot of people drive in. Okay, so go ahead and ask me your question.
Okay. Since Isaac is more the comic relief in the story, how is it to walk the line between comical and silly?
Great question.
Super great question.
Yeah, that is a really great question. For me, the hardest part about playing Isaac was that I was worried, I don't want him to, he was so funny in the book, but I didn't want him to be a joke, because I met with a real blind guy named Ethan. I'll answer to you. What's up, guys? I met with a real blind guy named Ethan, and he really helped me out, and I realized he was really angry and in pain from going blind, and he really did get dumped when he was 19 by a girl, just like Isaac. I know. But he was super funny. He was really funny, and he had this really cynical, edge to him. And I said, that's the key to the character, is that I want him to be a really funny character, not a joke. It makes it way easier to be good when you're working with unbelievable actors like these two. I could not be luckier working with these two people. I'm not just saying that. I feel like I'm gonna cry. This is our last stop on the tour. I love these people so much. And I love John so much, working for material like The Fault in Our Stars. You can't get better than that. It's unbelievable. Thank you guys so much for coming out here.
Okay, what's your name?
Abby,
Where are you from?
South Lake.
South Lake, okay. And here's your question.
This is for John Green. As a male, how do you write a story in a teenage female's perspective?
Well, it's also weird for me as an old man to write from a teenage perspective of any kind, because I don't know what kind of music you guys listen to. Like, the Fault in Our Stars track list came out, and I was so excited. And, no offense to any of those people, because I love the soundtrack. I think it's awesome, but I've never heard of any of them. I have no idea what music you listen to. I only listen to one band. They're called the Mountain Goats. They're great. They make all the music I want to listen to, and then sometimes I listen to my brother. Sometimes I listen to Nat and Alex. Sometimes I listen to a little house music with Dan Solo. Sometimes I listen to Shailene singing "These Boots Were Made for Walking." And that's all I need. But yeah, and I don't know like the slang that y'all use or anything, so like, in writing, I'm imagining the emotional experiences. I'm not imagining the details. You look great, Ansel. That hat was made for a man with your head width. So when it came to imagining Hazel, when I thought abstractly about writing from a girl's perspective, I was like, and I kind of panicked. But when I thought really detailed about writing from Hazel's perspective, then it was fine. Because Hazel was just one particular person. I wasn't trying to make broad, sweeping statements about, you know, what it means to be 16 in 2014, because I don't know. But I did feel like I could write from Hazel's perspective.
So I
did a
have
perfect
another
job.
Thank you.
You know, there's a lot of times that John just reminds me of a 16-year-old girl. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways. I will say this, no joking about me being a 16-year-old girl while I'm wearing this tiny hat on my head. The thing that I love about teenagers the most is that they are able to experience emotion without irony and without like trying to protect themselves from it. They have authentic emotional experiences. I know this sounds ridiculous with me, I have a tiny hat on my head. And I love that. I love that they are like falling in love for the first time, and it's intense and it's real, and even when adults don't acknowledge its realness or acknowledge that it matters, it does matter. And I love that they're like grappling with big questions about what the meaning of life is and why we suffer and all that stuff. They're doing it without irony and without fear and with great openness. And in that way, I am a 16-year-old girl. Also, I like the smell of lavender.
So I have another Twitter question. Shailene and Ansel.
We're listening.
We're gonna get lice.
No. What is your
Sorry, guys.
favorite
I forgot
quality
to
about
warn
each
you.
other?
Oh. What's your favorite quality about each other?
Shailene and Ansel.
Oh, what's our favorite qualities about each other? Ansel's an amazing dancer.
I'm not dancing again.
He might dance later. Okay, I'll go first. Ansel is single-handedly the most artistic person I know. As soon as I feel like I know exactly all the things he can do, he just like whips out some other creative process and it blows me away. He paints those tiny miniature things. Yeah. They're better than any that you can find in any toy store anyway. It's insane. He also is one of the best singers. He sounds like James Blake, if you know who that is. And Ansel enters a room with wide eyes and a bigger, a more authentic sense of enthusiasm than almost anyone I've ever met in my life. Hold on, I'm not done. I love complimenting him to his face. When he walks into a room, he lights it up simply by being himself, because he opens his eyes to the world and he's so excited to learn and he's so curious and he'll never stop learning. And so you teach me every day, buddy. Thanks for being you.
I always blush when I'm around Shailene. Shailene is so unique. She always is herself. She doesn't let anyone bring her down. She doesn't let anyone tell her who she is. And that's really unique, and she's such a powerful woman for that. I'm not done. She always inspires me to try new things and do new things, and it always seems like it's okay to try new things, and I'm never scared when Shailene's the one showing me them. And she's always happy and always wants to go on an adventure, so that's, you know, you couldn't find a better friend to go on an adventure with.
We make a pretty good team.
So John, you really...
Let me tell you my favorite thing about you, Nat.
You know, it's just something about your body, mostly, that I love.
Can actually, I want to tell, this is the last night on tour, and I rarely get a chance to talk to you in front of like 4,000 people. It's probably the last time. So Nat and I have been, we've been interviewed together 10 million times in the last 4 days, and Nat's gonna
Hey Hank, it's Tuesday.
Nat's gonna star in Paper Towns. I'm just so excited to have the chance to spend a few more months with the funniest person I think I've ever been friends with. It's so fun to hang out with you, and I'm gonna miss it.
John Green.
Can I tell you my favorite thing about Shailene? Shailene is more, Ansel said this, but I'm going to repeat it. Shailene is more herself than anyone I've ever known, and it is so hard when there are so many people in your life, screaming nice things to you. It is really, really hard to to hold on to your sense of yourself and not feel weird about it. Shay is so deeply open to loving others and to accepting their love, and that's been a huge inspiration to me, a huge gift to me in our friendship. So I love her very much, and I'm so grateful that she was my Hazel. And my favorite thing about Ansel, my beloved Gus, my dear friend, my beautiful, awesome, supremely talented friend who's an absolute revelation in this movie, who's going to blow you away, is that he is a very good breakdancer. It's completely fake, it's just for the cameras.
First off, that was awesome. Okay, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Caroline.
Caroline, where are you from?
I'm from Argyle.
Okay, and here's Caroline's question.
I guess this is for anyone. I read The Fault in Our Stars before I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma in January. And afterward, the story took on an even greater meaning for me. How do you hope that this story affects those who are struggling with cancer and trying to find the beauty in living again?
So what I'd say in answer to that, and I want them to answer too, but what I would say is that the most important thing about the story to me is that no one walk on eggshells around you because being sick can be so socially isolating. So you're dealing with this physical illness, but at the same time, you're dealing with people who are really uncomfortable. They don't know what to say to you. They don't know what to ask, and that's really, really hard. It makes it harder. And my hope is that through the story and other stories like it, people will see that people who are living with illness are people. You know, that they aren't fundamentally other from other people.
And it doesn't
and that
define
your life is just as meaningful and valuable and full of love and hope and joy and fear and anger and all the stuff that everybody else feels. And that your disease has not in any way changed that or taken any of that away from you, and it never can.
So we have another fan question here. What's your name?
I'm May.
May, what is your question?
This is for Shay, Nat, and Ansel. And so how was your experience on set affected by the presence of the lovely John Green?
We're going to be here for 5 more hours because we have a lot to say.
But he was so important to me figuring out who Gus was, just because John Green, in my opinion, is sort of Gus. The way,
but less hot.
Oh, come on now, John Green.
but no, like his wit, his intelligence, the way he cares for others. I really saw Gus in John, and he really helped me understand who Gus was just by hanging out with him. I think if John hadn't been on set, I would have had a much harder time bringing Gus to life. So I always thank him for it. But in front of thousands of people, so it's official. Thank you.
For me, John Green is single-handedly, other than my mom, actually, my mom is pretty much like this as well, but other than her, you are the most empathetic, compassionate, I've told you all this before, but compassionate person I've ever met in my life. And when John looks at you, he doesn't just see you and he doesn't just hear you, he's there with you. He shares the same soul with you for a minute because he is looking dead into your soul and your spirit, and he is giving you everything. And then when you respond, he absorbs it and then responds again. And I've never met another human being who has the capacity to do that. Even right now, the way you're looking at me, you are so with me right now. It's a rarity. I learned so much from it. Sometimes when I'm listening to somebody, I'm like, I'm listening to you, but I have no idea what you're saying. And I think a lot of us do that. And I never have ever felt that with you, and I've never observed you do that with anyone else. And also, you're so brilliant, and your ability to be there for other people is completely out of this world. You teach me something each and every day, whether I'm around you or not.
Slutty.
Thank you.
It's great. It's just like the movie. We're all crying.
Yeah, I just feel this is I mean, that thing. No, John, means so much to me. Seriously. I really do feel like John is
Superhuman.
one of my best friends, and I really feel like in the last year I've gotten such an education from being around him, just like these guys, and I really love these 3 people. So.
You also do so much. It kind of boggles my mind. I'm like, how do you have time to even brush your teeth? Because you do so much.
That's gross.
Seriously, where?
So we have another fan question here. What's your name and where are you from?
My name's Catherine, and I'm from Kerrville, Texas.
And your question is?
My question is actually for my friend Austin. He gave me my question kind of like Gus gave Hazel her wish. But his question is, while auditioning for Hazel, what did you do to stand out to the casting director? And this is for Shailene.
Ooh,
I can answer that too.
I mean, you should probably answer because I don't really remember exactly maybe what I did.
She did, you don't remember what you did, seriously?
Auditions are so crazy because you go in and your heart's pounding so fast that when you leave, you're like, wow, all I heard is my heart pound for 5 minutes. And that's kind of it.
She did 2 scenes, but the scene that I saw first was the eulogy, the Some Infinities Are Bigger Than Other. And she was like, I'd seen that eulogy performed by many hundreds of very talented actresses, but like 4 words into it, I was like, I can't believe I replied to that very nice email from Shailene Woodley that she sent me months ago saying, that's all very nice, but I'm not a casting director. And I was like, oh God, what do we have to do? And I called the producer. I mean, it was just so beautiful. She sounded like Hazel. I mean, she was Hazel. She had become Hazel for me immediately, and has been the sort of visual manifestation of Hazel for me ever since. Really, without fail, everything that she said.
I never cut my hair, and then this opportunity came about, and it was so beautiful for me, and I was like, wow, I'm kind of being selfish hogging all this hair. And the fun thing about hair is most of the time, if you're lucky, it grows back, which is kind of funny, that it has the ability to do that. So I thought it'd be really neat to cut my hair and to give it to somebody who maybe didn't have the ability to grow it back. And then the super cool thing, which if you haven't heard about this yet, maybe I'd ask you to consider today, is we did this, Fox and John and a few other people came together and started this thing called Hair for Hazel, which basically we sent out through social media, encouraging others around, I guess, the world. Social media is crazy that way. Around the world to do the same thing if they felt willing to cut their hair. So it was really liberating for me, and now I feel like I'll never have long hair again because it's so much fun to have short hair. But if you do have long hair and you don't feel that attached to it, and you want to like go on a little hair adventure, cut it off and donate it to some amazing company.
All right, I think we got like 2 more. Let's see here. What's your name? Where are you from?
I'm Dee Dee, and I'm from Dripping Springs.
And what's your question?
Okay, my question is for the Hecker Rad Shailene, and I wanted to know what the process was that you had to go through to play someone with cancer, like knowing that you'd never gone through something like that before.
That's a great question. You know, for me, it wasn't that hard because I don't believe that cancer defines a person. So I wasn't playing a 16-year-old who had cancer. I was playing a 16-year-old who was falling in love for the first time and who was going through the process of kissing a guy and going to Amsterdam with him and dealing with loss and grief and excitement and adventure and all of these things that we all go through at that beautiful time at that age. And then the cancer, I mean, for me, I met with some people who did have something similar to what Hazel had, just to bring the physicality of what it would be like to breathe with oxygen or to have to breathe with oxygen. But other than the physical aspects of what Hazel had, I completely disregarded it because again, it doesn't define who you are. And so that was sort of my process. Thanks for the question.
I believe this is our last fan question. So what's your name? Where are you from?
Daniela Braniff, and I'm from the Woodlands, Texas.
Okay. And go ahead with your question.
Okay, so wow, last question. This is not normal.
I know, right? Look at that.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so I guess you guys can answer sort of for each other. So Hazel picks Amsterdam with her destination of choice. So I guess you guys answer for each other. Where do you think Ansel or Nat or Shailene or maybe John would want to go, and why do you think so?
Good question. Great question. All right. Let's just we'll all do all 3.
Okay, and we'll
You
see.
go first.
Oh.
I want to make Shay go first because she's smart. So I just thought I could do it.
But I'm not that quick.
Nat, you go first.
Nat, you're really
You're not
quick.
that smart, but you're super quick.
I know that you would probably end up. Ansel would end up in like Ibiza.
That was a weird
That was
hug.
like a weird mating situation.
I thought that was wrestling.
You gotta pick where, if we had a trip to Amsterdam, where each of the 3 of us would go.
No. Okay, well I know you would probably be in like Ibiza or somewhere where there's a lot of electric dance music.
Yeah, that's totally right.
That's pretty good. Sounds good to me.
You guys go. Now we'll take turns.
All right, for me, I think Shailene would go, like, she'd probably live in like a cave in El Salvador, but I think she'd go to
Hawaii.
I think she'd go on a sailboat between Hawaiian islands.
That's a pretty fair assessment.
With Ansel, I agree. The like some kind of cool EDM. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Sweet. Some kind of cool EDM like 3-day concert, but where you can also stay. You're not camping out.
You can
stay
rock
in a
climb.
fairly nice hotel.
Yeah. And I go to the beach. Ibiza's pretty good.
Ibiza, fine.
Never
Like
been.
Jay said. And with Nat, I mean, I think
John's house.
Yeah, my house. Yeah, that interestingly, I think for me, also my house. That's my favorite place because that's where my kids hang out.
So we have, sorry to interrupt.
No.
What were you going to say? Okay, we have one last question for John. Obviously, cancer is a very tough subject. We wanted to know what inspired you to write the book.
You know, I wanted to write a story. I mean, I was good friends with a young woman named Esther Earl. Yeah, you know, that's great. You guys should not feel weird about cheering for Esther. That's awesome. I was really good friends with this woman named Esther, who's a nerd fighter and a really important member of our community. And when she died of cancer when she was 16 in 2010, I was heartbroken, I was devastated, and I was also kind of brought back to a lot of the anger that I'd had many years before when I worked as a student chaplain at a children's hospital in Ohio. And I couldn't not write the story anymore. I couldn't not try to write about the people I'd known and cared about as I'd known about them and cared about them. People who were complex and had rich lives and short lives that were still meaningful, short lives that were still good lives. And I wanted to try to show them, as Shailene and Ansel and Nat have all talked about, as people who are not defined by their disability, as people who are not equivalent to their disability. Disability is part of their lives. It's part of a lot of our lives. It's not the only thing that's happening in a disabled person's life. People who are unwell or who are even very, very sick, even at the very end of their lives, their lives can do have all of the love and the anger and humor and fear and everything else that any other life has. And I wanted to reclaim that full humanness for my friend, but also I guess like for myself. I wanted to kind of have that again. In some ways I probably wanted to have her with me again, and that was a way of trying to do it.
Which is why you are a superhuman.
Oh, thanks, man. We love you guys so much. This has been such an amazing night. It's been so special for us. I want to thank our lovely hosts.
There's one last thing. On this tour, you guys really, really like saying okay, so we want to make sure that we do that with you. So on the count of 3, you guys are going to say okay, and then you're going to say okay.
Okay.
Are you ready, guys? Wait, X has got to get his phone ready. This is key.
It's ready, it's ready.
It did not happen in Ansel's life if it has not been Instagrammed. I'll do it too. I'm no better. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Hold on, keep recording it though, because we actually have a surprise for y'all, so keep recording. You guys ready? We practiced this. Let's do it loud, let's do it proud, Texas style. Keep recording. Loud, guys. Ready? The stars at night are big and bright. Thank you, guys.
We love you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys. Don't forget to be